Chaps, let's talk quite big breaking news, Kevin, overnight. The NHS pay cap is being removed. 6.5% pay increases over 3 years for many of the lowest paid workers, including nurses. I mean, give credit to Theresa May. Yes?
Well,
of course he won't.
Up to a point, Lord Morgan.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Last time I checked, inflation over the next 3 years was forecast to rise. Retail price index includes rents, council tax and mortgages, 9%. So there was a new set of figures coming out. I haven't checked. It'll have changed a little bit, but that would still mean a drop in your living standards over those 3 years. And then you have the fact that in-work benefits are being frozen and cut too. So it doesn't mean if you're a nurse, you're a reporter, you're working in the NHS, that your living standards will go up over the next 3 years. After 2 years of freezes and then a 1%
So this is bad news, is it?
Well, it's better news than a pay cap, I would have thought. Yeah.
It may not be as big a cut in living standards as you've had, but you may not be better off at the end of the period.
Everybody in the country who has a job is going to be in that same position, right?
MPs have had a 17.8% increase since 2010. Some of that, in fairness to MPs, was consolidation of other money. They've had a bigger increase than NHS workers. Now, I'm not begrudging MPs their increase, but what I will begrudge those who've been voting for a pay cap and supporting it, people like him, Tory boy and his mates, and yet they've been taking money from other people and reducing their living standards.
Okay. And Andrew,
well, we've heard from Mr. Scrooge here. Actually, if you're a reporter, as somebody put in one of the papers today, if you're a reporter on £15,000 a year, and suddenly your money's going up to, say, 19, I think, even in one case, that's a significant chunk of change.
It is a significant increase, and the fact is the public finances are in a better place because austerity has worked.
No, it hasn't.
Yes. Kevin, we just had 10 minutes of you waffling on. Can I just have 30 seconds? The public finances are in a better place, which means the government can pay more money, and porters, nurses are going to have a lot more money to take home, and I think that's great. The fact is this country, though, is still in huge amounts of debt, and they've got to pay it off.
And there are plenty of public sector workers who are not getting
anything at all.
So, presumably, this now means that everybody will be asking for, you know, as you say, quite a reasonable increase.
I don't think it's unreasonable to think if you go to work and you graft that you can expect at the end of the year your living standards will go up a little bit. And I do believe in a decent day's pay for a decent day's work. Now, where people's living standards have been falling and the value of their wages has been going down, that has got to be bad. That's how you measure economic success, really, not the figures you
I think nurses and porters will be feeling a lot happier today when they read that their pay's going up after years of it being the belt being tightened.
They might hear you say austerity works, but off their backs.
Off everyone's backs. Off everyone's backs.
The public sector workers are, you know, the lowest paid.
Finally.
Isn't the question about austerity...
The straitjacket's being lifted, finally.
Isn't the question, Kevin, about austerity is the word is awful, and every time you hear it, you want to cringe.
Living within our means.
But living within our means is not a bad mantra in these turbulent times, particularly, I would argue, given what's going on with Brexit. You want a little bit of stability. You don't want economic turmoil. The one thing you can say post the referendum is that the financial apocalypse we'd all been told would happen immediately hasn't happened.
Yeah, but
that is a good thing for the public, right? I mean,
he doesn't think so.
But austerity reduced economic growth and harmed people's living standards, and a financial crisis caused by reckless, greedy, bonus-obsessed banksters was actually paid for. The price has been paid for by teachers, people in call centres, carers, people in factories. That has got to be wrong. We need a big fundamental shift on how the economy...
But there are harsh realities about the state of our economy. We are heavily in debt. And by the way, that's as much a Tory issue as it's been a Labour issue.
Well, they failed. They missed all their targets on reducing debt.
Every family has to pay the cost of this debt. It's not just a magic figure. Every family has to pay it. We have to get out of this debt situation, which means we can't... It is lot. We'll just unleash the spend.
Well, look, I'll tell you what, why don't we... Let's hear from those who are going to be directly affected here. Nurses, midwives, healthcare assistants, paramedics, also porters and so on. If you're waking up to this news, do you feel good about this?
Well, you must feel relieved about it at the very least.
In year 1, 2% in year 2, 1% in year 3, virtual guarantee of 6.5% increase for most people in those areas in the NHS. I would imagine that most of them will feel, you know what, yeah, it could be better. Kevin,
and in the private sector, a lot of people don't get a pay rise at all.
It may not quite match up to what may be happening. But all these projections,
and they
in my
don't
view...
have to lose, in these negotiations, it looks like they're not going to have to lose holiday, which was one of the chips.
The original proposal was to take a day's holiday, which would take 0.4% actually off your pay straight. They seem, God, they've dropped it, how generous. But that, I've seen it, I've covered pay negotiations for decades, and it's an old trick to package lots of years together and make a figure look much bigger than it really is. 1%
but if there's been a pay cap since 2010 and suddenly it's not capped, that's better than being capped, right?
It is, but look, if someone's been...
I'm trying to begrudgingly get some
you won't ever get anything from him.
Recognition.
If it's got Tory in front of it, he won't agree with it.
If someone's been kicking and punching you and all of a sudden they stop kicking you, they're just punching you, it'll still hurt. If your living standards over that 3-year period are still going to fall, that is not good.
I'm trying to get something out of you complimentary.
A lot of people who work in the private sector haven't had a pay rise for 3 or 4 years and won't get one this year.